Coach?
I'm pleased to announce Liam Coen as our new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. I have recently had the opportunity to spend time with Liam and was immediately impressed with his knowledge and personality to move our program into the future. We expect to be an exciting offense for both our players and fans, and really cannot wait to get going. As soon as Liam's season is over, he'll be joining us, and hopefully he'll have an opportunity to go to another Super Bowl, but as soon as his season's over, he'll be here.
All right, questions. We'll go first with John Hale.
Mark, obviously, or at least on paper, it doesn't seem like you have connection to him previously. Just how did he come up in the search? What was the kind of recommendation, and what attracted you to him and the offense you think he's going to run?
It came up in the search with me just doing some research. On a lot of it was style of play. John, I had to clearly think out my vision, for the program as we move forward and what exactly we wanted it to look like. And as you know, there's many different styles that you can go with in today's day and age with college football. But I also had to, go with something that I was comfortable with as well, and something that could mesh with the good things that we've been doing and what we wanted to look like as you move forward. And certainly, you don't have to look very far to look at LA's offense to know that they are very creative and and very innovative with what they're doing offensively. So I think it started there with me, having a vision of what we wanted to look like. I spent weeks thinking about this and talking with Dan Breslowitz, my chief of staff here, basically like our GM, and talk with Dan and research guys, and we started talking about things weeks ago and looking at people, and it was nice because there was a lot of interest in our job, and I had an opportunity to visit with many different people, many different styles of offense, but I was very attracted to Liam right from the start. So it started with our research, and then obviously the people that I know in LA and the people connected in our profession, spoke so highly of him. Coach McVay and others, had many good things to say about him. So it kind of rolled from there.
Josh Moore.
Hey, Mark, congrats on finishing this
Thank
up.
you.
But what does, obviously the offense speaks for itself and what you want from that and what he brings. But what does just an injection, just bringing in another young guy do as far as, sending a message about where the program's going?
Well, I think it's helpful. I really do. I think it's not something that was necessarily a box that I had to check. It just worked out that way. But I think bringing people from the NFL has worked for me before, and I really like how detailed he was, and obviously had a great handle. The biggest area that needs improvement for us is the quarterbacks and receivers, and he has an expertise in both of those areas, and worked with both groups in the NFL, and that was very attractive to me.
John Clay.
Well, you sort of answered my question there, Mark, about the work that Liam's also his experience working with the receivers. I guess the other question I would have is, when you talk about style of play in the Rams offense, is there anything in particular about Sean McVay's offense that sticks out to you that you really like? I know it's based on a run game as its foundation, right, and plays off of that. Is that what it feels to you?
Well, it feels balanced. It feels quarterback friendly. If you watch them, you see the way they attack you. It's quarterback friendly with the bootlegs and things of that nature as well, and getting the ball out. Obviously, I think it was important also to be creative and getting receivers open out of the bunch sets, the pinch sets, their play action. They get the ball on the perimeter with the fly sweeps and then the play action off of it. So it's very balanced, I would say, but also creative in attacking people down the field and scoring points. It's going to be hard. Listen, we're still in the SEC, and we have to build. But this is something that I like, that was attractive to me as we envision our program moving forward.
Kent Spencer.
Yeah, Mark, he's been with the Rams for a couple years now and the assistant quarterback coach. How much input does he have kind of in their day to day with their offense? Because obviously on the outside looking in, everything offensively with LA kind of goes through McVay.
Well, I don't think there's any question that it goes through McVay. Nobody doubts that. But he obviously has a lot of input, does a lot with their third down that they're very good at. And again, just talking with him and so many people that I respect in the business, told me that he was qualified for this, and my visit with him kind of sealed the deal.
Nick Roush?
Mark, they kind of answered a few of my questions, but you now have two coordinators from Rhode Island. I know it's not exactly a football hotbed across the country.
And rivals. They were rivals in high school. They were different era. Brad's older, but rival high schools. It's my understanding.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, from a recruiting standpoint, I know he's been out of the game for a while, but how do you incorporate that into recruiting?
Well, I think he's coached in college. He understands the recruiting game, and he's willing to work at it. As somebody else mentioned, he's youthful and he's ready to work. And I think recruiting kind of takes care of itself if you have a good product on the field as well. And that was the most important thing for this hire, was to get an offense that I was comfortable with and that can move us into the future.
As a quick follow-up, how have recruits or players responded to the news?
It's been very positive. It's been very good and very positive, and I feel good about where we're headed.
John Long?
Mark, this is your fourth offensive coordinator during your tenure here. I know everybody's different, but you're known for being a defensive guy. What have you gleaned? Maybe a better question is, what have you learned? How have you changed in developing a relationship with these guys over the years?
Yeah, I think, it's important to, over the years, you kind of get a feel for what you want to be, what you want to look like. It's me as a defensive coach, being here for this whole time, we've gone through our ups and our downs as well. And I think over time, you kind of get a good feel for what you can be, what you're good at, what our identity is, and what, because there's a lot of good defenses, but what can we do and how effective can we be? And we're constantly trying to build that and grow defensively. And offensively, it's the same way. We've done some good things, but we've also stalled in some areas where we fell short that we need to move forward. So I think, where I've grown is taking a good hard look at what I think we can be, what I think we can look like, and and that's what we're going to do. And we got a plan in place to do that now. And instead of trying to, put a square peg in a round hole, sometimes you have to look at, what you want to look like and what you think you can be. And I think that's probably the biggest area where you have to grow and adapt with the job.
Dick Gabriel?
There we go. Mark, you mentioned style a couple times, and it seems like the two quarterbacks at the top of the depth chart for the upcoming season have different sorts of skill sets. How do you see those blending with the style of offense that Coen's going to bring?
I don't know if I would pigeonhole those guys that way. I think they're both very talented quarterbacks, and there's others on our roster that are talented as well. We'll just have to see where that goes, but I don't want to pigeonhole any of our players into a certain style. I think they can adapt and be very good at whatever style you decided to go with.
John Hale?
Mark, how much did you look at what Liam had done at Maine and his other college stops in terms of what his philosophy has evolved with what he learned with Coach McVay, or was that part of it at all?
Yeah, absolutely, it was part of it. But I think, I think you can understand that as a college coach, we grow. If I left here and went somewhere else, you learn from the experiences that you have here. Every stop that I, had, you learn something different from. Certainly from a coordinator standpoint. And, for him to have that experience, to have that on his plate where he had to put everything together, was important. And then also now taking another step and go work with Coach McVay for 3 years and learn under him, it was important. But I think his style will be what you see lately.
Terry?
Yeah, Mark, with you saying that Liam will finish the season with the Rams, I was just curious in terms of filling out the offensive staff, just kind of the timeline you thought that might happen.
Yeah, we'll see. I have some really good ideas in place what we want to do. It was important to get the OC in place first, and we'll get to recruiting tomorrow. But I feel very good about some guys that I want to hire, and a couple of them are in situations where there's some turnover going on right now. So we'll let that play out, and then we'll finish it up soon.
Josh Moore?
Mark Whipple's a guy that Liam coached with at some point. I know you mentioned kind of reaching out to people. Is he someone that you reached out to? And maybe who were some other people you talked to?
No, but Liam and I definitely had a conversation about that, and Mark's had some really good offenses through the years and creative guy. So it was good that he was under him. But there's a lot of people that I visited with that I know that have connection directly with coaches on the staff at LA that I trust and know. So it's a great organization, top to bottom, and a lot of good people there, people that I trust. That was important, but also face-to-face was important as well. So, we had an opportunity to spend some time, and that was good.
John Clay?
Mark, Nick asked it.
Sorry.
No, go ahead there.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go. All right.
I bet you're getting a lot of those.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Trying to get a couple other things done today.
Yeah, I imagine you're kind of a busy guy.
You have to multitask, right, John?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Nick asked about the Rhode Island background.
Yeah.
My understanding, Liam's father, Tim, longtime coach in Rhode Island. As a coach's son yourself, there's the old adage about coaches really like coaches' sons. The coach or coach with them. Can you talk just a little bit about his total background in football?
Yeah, that was important to me. His father was a very successful Division III head coach and gave that up to coach him in high school. And you're right, much like myself, growing up around a coach, that is important to me. His mother was an educator, and so his personal background was very fitting to myself, and so it all comes into play in some way, shape, or form. But you are accurate. It's a similar background, and I like that.
Kent Spencer?
Yeah, Mark, with one of those obviously other offensive position categories, it's an offensive line coach, a position that you didn't ever probably want to ever have to make another hire at, but you do. John did such a great job, obviously, over the year, and he kind of established a certain culture within that room. Is that something that you want to make sure whoever has that job can kind of continue down that same path of the physicality and everything that group has become?
Without a doubt. It's extremely important to keep that momentum going, and we, really, our team and the culture of our team really starts with our offensive line, and we want to continue that. You want to continue to let the big men lead the way, and it's really important to continue that culture, and we will. I have a guy in mind right now that's, in the middle of transition at another school that'll be a fantastic fit here, and we just got to wait. Just contractually. Some people drag their heels, just to try to save money. But it'll happen. He's the right fit for us and the right fit for me. So we'll make that happen, no problem, here in the future. I already got a guy in mind. Come on, Susan, you got to walk around too. We try to save money around here. You notice that these lights turn off automatically on me about once a day. So somebody's got to run some laps. It's so aggravating when I'm sitting in my office and it does it to me about 3 times a day. Susan's coming back here. She had to.
Okay, Dick Gabriel?
now that you have an OC in place and a philosophy that you subscribe to, how do you proceed now with the bowl game?
We'll continue the bowl game with the guys we have on site. So Coach Bo, Coach Morrow, myself, the interns that we have in place, or quality control coaches, we'll get it handled.
So you wait on changing the playbook till after the bowl game?
Yes, because Liam's tied up right now.
Right. And could you comment on the honor that the Royals Committee bestowed on John Schwan?
Well, I appreciate our folks, Susan and Tony, and all the folks here. He's so deserving of that, like so many others on that list. But John is special. I think all the content that you guys all put out on him and the coverage that you gave John and Leanne and the family, we appreciate. I think it's good for people to hear that story about John and his courageous battle. Hopefully that'll inspire others, and I think this recognition is just another step. So we greatly appreciate it, and we thank him for that.
Josh Moore?
Mark, what do your what's the vibe with recruits as far as the honor and the guys that are currently on the roster? What do they have to say about it?
No, it's good. I just had a few guys on the roster that were through the office today that I ran it by, and they were very excited about it. And so there was just a few through here today. You guys had me tabbed pretty good, so I don't know who was leaking all the information, but you guys were getting the info. Everything's been very positive. The recruits have been very positive, and our players on the team, it's been a positive vibe.
Jeff Drummond?
Hey, Mark, just curious, how magnified will spring be now in those practices, given the amount of turnover you've had? And are you, I guess, obviously hopeful that we're past some of this, virus stuff maybe by that time?
Yeah, good points. I mean, it's super important to have spring and to have a normal winter. So hopefully this will pass, and we'll be able to have a normal spring, because it's extremely important for us right now.
Okay, anyone else for Coach Stoops? Okay, John Clay?
Yeah, Mark, how important did you think this hire was, and how happy are you to have it completed, especially before signing day, to let the recruits know, hey, this is the direction we're going?
I think we all understand it was a very important hire for me. My expertise is in defense, and again, as I mentioned, it's kind of setting the tone with the whole team. I have great confidence in Brad. That lets me focus on, developing our team and leadership and in messaging and doing things that the head coaches do. And that's, that's having a touch in all aspects of the program: offense, defense, special team, the culture of your team. There's many things to do, and the more talented coaches you have around you, it helps you spend your time in certain ways. I like to be involved in all areas, but that's also time-consuming and difficult at times to do as much as you want to do. So very important hire. We understand that, and very relieved that it was done. I had to do my due diligence. I had to talk to many people. I had to spend a lot of time on the phone and in planes, and I feel good about the work that we put in, and excited about having Liam.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
And everybody stay